Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Today with a studio audience. Love them. Okay, these are the questions I want to ask you today. If they fail to pass this bill, this health care and education bill, what then? Well, then we have to be vigilant because they're going to break it up and they're just going to pass it in pieces. If they do pass this health and education bill, what then? That's the question that I kind of wrestled with last night. So then what? What does that mean? You know, I think a lot of people are going to say, geez, we've lost. We put all this time in, we lost. No. I want you to remember George Washington. George Washington lost every single battle until he crossed the Delaware. He won the war. This is a war. This isn't about health care. We're up against something much, much bigger than health care and education reform. I will show you next. The people behind the camera are making them clap. They're like, perform for me, monkey. Come on, that's what you're saying, I know. Hello, America. Through the course of American history, there have been periods and events that were so dramatic, so huge, that they were life-altering for the people involved, the people in America. Some of them were so huge they altered the entire world. It changed people. It changed their daily life, and it changed the course for generations. Some of the examples, when the founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, or when the framers signed the Constitution a few years later. Something that changed us dramatically for many, many years, the Civil War, and all the corruption that came from Reconstruction afterwards. Then there was the life-changing New Deal and Pearl Harbor. There was also, in our lifetime, 9/11. That was an event that changed the course of our country. It still affects all of us every day. All of these events didn't happen just on one day and the immediate people that were involved. These events grabbed each and every one of us at the core. Do you remember how you felt that day? And it caused us to reevaluate our thinking. What is it that we believe? Who are we? How did this happen? What happened? And then we started moving forward again. Pearl Harbor was a hugely important day, but that wasn't the end of the story. It wasn't just December 7th. It wasn't like, wow, that was a bad day, and then everybody went back and having apple pie and watching baseball. America had a choice to make on that day. And as everyone knows, the decisions that followed over the next few years, that deadly December 7th attack, radically changed America's course. We went to war, and it changed everything. This vote this weekend is akin to one of these events. If you think I'm talking about just the health care bill, you couldn't be more wrong. The health care bill is merely a battle, and it is a huge battle. I think it may be Normandy, but it's part of a bigger war. And the war is the fundamental transformation or restoration of our country. That is the game that they're playing. And while everybody is going to focus on the political game surrounding the health care bill, the slaughter rule, the secrecy, the arm twisting, the bribes, the lies, these things should be addressed, but that's not what this show is going to address. I have to tell you, I spent several hours last night thinking about this and quite honestly praying on this last night. And I thought, Lord, I mean, what happens? What happens? Where do we go from here? About 2 o'clock in the morning, I started feeling better because I was reading several things last night, and I finally realized I already have the answer. I have the answer. We just have to beat that drum. We have to make sure that we understand that the picture is not about politics. It's much, much, much bigger. It's much bigger than Obama. It's bigger than the Republicans and the Democrats or Bush or Clinton. We have been off track for decades, and it is finally catching up with us. So we have to change. Not just Washington. We have to change. Because, let's be honest, we're the ones that allowed our system to make this kind of a bill a possibility. Americans need to ask the question, how did this happen? And the only answer I can come up with is because we wanted to believe the lies that were being told, that we could have it all. We have to find the answers, because even if this health care bill is stopped, they're going to break it apart piece by piece, and then there's going to be another massive corrupt bill, and then another, and then another, and the Republicans will come and the Democrats will go, but the entire system is broken. It's broken. I read a report today, and I want to show you this. This is a report from about Greece. The Greece bailout is falling apart. The markets tanked on the news. I read another story that said if Spain goes into default, the whole world goes into default. Not a surprise if you watch this show, because we've been saying that. Any of these pieces fall, and it's a domino. Then you remember last week I told you a story that barely got any news. Moody's said that America may lose its AAA rating. Moody's says U.S. debt could test AAA rating. That's a bad story. That means we're not going to be able to pay our interest rate. But there was a small line at the end of the article that got even less attention. I even missed this one on the first time through, and it is incredible. Have you heard anyone else focusing on this, even on Moody's? Moody's says that we could test AAA rating, but now let me show you what it would require to fix it. Fiscal adjustments of a magnitude that in some cases will test social cohesion. Let me translate. Fiscal adjustments. We're not talking about health care and education. We're certainly not saying, oh, you've got a right to education. Here's more free stuff. That's not what we're talking about. Fiscal adjustments, meaning down. Why would we test social cohesion if you're getting more presents from the government? Do you see the lie they're telling you? Fiscal adjustments of a magnitude that in some cases will test social cohesion. Let me translate social cohesion. Show me Greece, please. This is the test of social cohesion. They're called riots. They believe society may experience, America may experience some sort of breakdown. And I'm telling you, I am begging you, America, to please root yourself in things that are real, because I think this is a possibility too. Because the fiscal adjustments must be made. I ask you, I kind of look at all of us as people who are on the deck of the Titanic, and it's our job to be people that they're going to argue inside the boat like crazy. You stand on the deck and you help me find stuff that floats. You help me build lifeboats. You get people, because they're going to come out. They're going to come out of the ship and they're going to say, okay, and they're going to still be arguing. It's your fault. No, it's his fault. It's that captain. It's that crew member. It doesn't matter. Get people into boats. I'm asking you as an audience to do a couple things. Tape the show every night, please. Watch it. Share it with friends. It's actually going to work to your advantage if you don't credit me with the information. You just pass on this information. I spend my own personal time and my own personal money doing research on this. Fox does the research as well on this program. There's a lot of man hours that goes into every single show. Please don't let it just spill out into the universe. Please, all of us are responsible for bringing at least one more person into the boat, because we're going to need every person. Because fiscal, what did they say? Fiscal changes are going to have to be made, and it's going to test us. Second week of April, I'm going to do a whole show on what should be cut. I'm bringing a team in, and it ain't about politics. It's not about politics. And I'm going to show you how bad this situation is going to get, and you'll get it. Now, when TARP was, they were telling everybody we had to do TARP. Congressman Brad Sherman said members of Congress were told if they didn't pass TARP, there would be martial law. Congressman Kanjorski was told that without Fed intervention of an electronic bank run, the world would have an economic collapse, and it would happen within 24 hours. Wow, the worst is behind us. It sure doesn't feel like that, and nobody but the president is really saying that. And what I'd like to know is, what are members of Congress being told what's going to happen if we don't pass health care? Whether health care is stopped or not, please consider the possibility that world finance as we know it is going to reset. It has to reset. And anybody with half a brain, the President of the United States knows this. This bill is the centerpiece of the progressive structure. You know how